What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 11th edition of the hashtag How to Relationship podcast. Today is going to be the first episode where we are going to have our new host. So the new host of the HTR podcast is none other than Tallulah from The Feminine Truth. Tallulah, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm excited to be here and to be the host.
Absolutely. Yeah, our on-screen chemistry between the three of us, it is undeniable. After the last live stream we did with you this past week, I was like, you know what? I think Tallulah needs to be the host of this podcast. And so I think I've definitely made the right decision. So welcome to the team.
Yay.
Don DeMarco. All right, Tallulah, take it away.
Hi guys. So thanks for having me both. I'm excited to be hosting. I've got some great questions for you.
Absolutely.
So
Cool.
there's an article that we were looking at earlier today, and I had a question for you.
Okay.
So what inspired you to write an article about workplace etiquette for ladies in relationships? And that's to Devon.
Wow. Well, it wasn't until I met Donovan that I realized the things that workplaces try to normalize or even encourage happen to be extremely bad for relationships. Now, it really depends on the company and the type of work that you do, but I'm specifically referring to an office setting. There are things like having one-on-one meetings with men or male managers that they require you do once a month, or these team building activities where you're not supposed to bring your significant other to go basically drink and play games or do whatever with your coworkers. It was really strange to me. What I thought was just like normal, harmless things that Donovan was like, whoa. All right, like, let's not wear the button down shirt that shows the cleavage to work. There's a lot of things that women think they have to do in order to succeed in the workplace, such as like looking good, looking like they're going out instead of going to work, and then when they get home, they take off their pretty clothes and they put on their sweatpants. Their husband comes home and they're too tired to even look good for their man. So there's a couple different dynamics to this. Now, when women are dressing too provocatively, not only is it bad for their relationship, but their male coworkers won't take them seriously. Another thing is like when women act flirtatious at work, thinking that that's how you are going to get people to like you, or that's, she's super friendly, so I need to be super friendly too. No, you're not being friendly, you're being flirtatious. There is a big difference. And that also reflects on how your coworkers will see you. So being flirtatious or too friendly can also hold you back as far as your career promotions and things like that, because people aren't taking you seriously. Also things like, being emotional at work. Not only showing other people like, hey, I'm vulnerable, come help me, and it's sending the wrong signal to saying I'm basically, I need help, but it's also going to make you be like, kind of like the butt of jokes and more ridicule, and you're not going to be taken seriously in the workplace. So what I found was that what Donovan's advised me to do and how to act when I was going to work was also helping me in my career goals. I was being taken more seriously. I was being promoted to managing positions and things like that. My salary was going up. So I, like, a lot of women think like, oh my God, if I don't do the team building activities, and if I don't look my best at the job, like I'm not going to advance. It's going to hurt my career. And I found that the opposite is true. So like there's this article covers some basic advice. For example, if you can avoid it, don't shower at night. Don't shower before you go to work.
There we go.
Don't shower before you go to work. And especially ladies, like, giving you a tip, don't shave your private parts before you leave the house for 8 hours. It kind of sends the wrong message to your man, because by the time you get home for him and you guys are like ready to go, not only you dirty, you're stubbly, you're not giving him your best.
Can I actually just bring something in there with what you said. Can everyone hear me okay quickly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it's actually this is a fact as well. I mean, Deb, you could probably have this from your experience as a woman, but it's actually a fact that if a woman has just, you know, shaved or what have you before an occasion, or she is wearing her best underwear or something, you know, matching and provocative or just something pretty, it actually is sending signals out. It's actually sending stuff out there to other men out there without you even realizing, because you're different within yourself, because it makes you feel fresh and like good as a woman, when
Right.
actually I'm totally agree with you with what you said, like not to do that before going to a corporate job, because that is going to get picked up whether you like it or not by
right.
other guys because you're feeling good.
I mean, how many
Donovan,
women
sorry, yeah.
how many women put on like perfume before they go to work, and then they get home and they smell like nothing, or like body odor, and they don't bother to put that perfume on like maybe once again for their man when they're having dinner. I mean, there's almost like this subversive thought process that says you have to give your best to your job, to your work, and then, you know, once you've got the man, you don't need to keep doing anything to keep him. And it's really messed up. Like, it's super flip-flop, because you're not going to lose your job for not wearing a low-cut shirt,
Right.
or showing, you know, too much, or showing a lot of thigh, or we're not wearing perfume or things like that. You're never going to lose your job because of that, unless, you know, certain exceptions, whatever.
Sure.
But you will lose your man by not putting in effort, especially over time. So, you know, nothing raises suspicion to a significant other than someone who's prettying up their private parts, their legs, their makeup, all this stuff, to not be around them. Like, what
Right.
are we doing? So go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to see. A lot of people might see don't shower before work. They see that on the screen. Oh my God, why would I not shower before work? Ladies, what it really comes down to is these are your priorities. If you look better for your boss than and it's so funny, how many women have fucked their bosses, right? How many women have had affairs with their coworkers? I mean, and it's funny, people, we know that workplace romance, I don't want to call it an epidemic, but we know workplace romance is common, but we should not be surprised, because when a woman gets up to go to work, the average rank and file woman, she gets up, okay? She takes a shower, just like Dev says, she shaves her lady parts, deodorant, perfume, high heels, she's looking good, her hair is in place. By the time she gets back from work, she's probably used the bathroom a couple of times. One of those is probably number 2. The hind part, the lady parts are just a little bit stubbly. Maybe your legs are a little bit stubbly. Your hair is no longer done. It's in a sloppy ponytail. You've wiped off the lipstick. Your deodorant and perfume have worn off. And now you're home for your man. And so and it's funny, because a lot of men don't realize that this is what's really happening. It's so commonplace for women to look better for their bosses and coworkers than for their men, that men just accept it. So what I did with Dev is I laid down the rules, and this wasn't something that we discussed. This is actually something that happened after we moved in.
Yeah.
So the very first day she was going to work, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Stop right there. And you've never been one to dress provocatively to work. That's just kind
Not
of
really, just because I'm a programmer most of the days. I'm sitting there.
Most of the time, you just wear like a jeans and a shirt.
Yeah.
Really. So I never really had that issue with Dev in terms of how to dress. But I always used to tell her, you shower when you get home. And she immediately caught on. I didn't even have to explain. She's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I playfully joked that that about the ass paste situation, which was really
yeah, and it's funny because it actually worked out better, because when I get home from work, I worked out, then I showered, then I made dinner, got ready, had a nice evening with my man. I smelled good, I look good, those kinds of things. There's a lot of women out here who look better when they're getting ready for work than when they're getting ready to go out on a date. Now, that's even a date with a new man or a significant other. So I think that's something to pay attention to. If she cares more about how she looks for her boss than she cares for you, then she's probably not a relationship-oriented woman.
No, I totally agree. And so fellas, this is one of those things that, and the reason why I was able to lay down the law with Deb is because I had already, and this is interesting. I guess I should have put this. I guess I might actually have to add this in the how to train your woman for a relationship. It is very, very important that you let your woman know, hey, if I'm the priority, show me that I'm the priority. Shower when you get home. Shower when you get home. Ooh, you mean you want me to be all achy when I go to work?
Yeah,
sweetheart, you're achy when you get home. So you mean to tell me that you're okay with being icky when you get home? You probably, like I said, you've probably done number 2 1 or 2 times. Everything, nothing smells good, but now you want to look your best for work. I think that would really put things in perspective. Here's another reason why women dress provocatively at work is because they want to be hoes. A lot of women in relationships like getting attention. We've heard that term work husband before, right?
yes.
Yeah, that is out of fucking bounds. If you are a woman and you value your relationship, then you will take these steps. Too many women, and this is something that isn't often talked about. Jap talks about this all the time. There are so many women that value their jobs more than their relationship. And that's one of many reasons why your girl's career could end up costing you your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while in the chat, I'm a web developer, programmer, SEO expert, and I build websites. So I'm not out here, coding ASP stuff. I'm more doing PHP, HTML, and functional website stuff.
All right. So I already have that.
Wow.
Jay Blaze with Jay Blaze with the $5 super chat says most people meet their spouse at work after school. Me Too has ruined that. Less men even want to have one-on-one conversations with women, much less date. I met my ex-wife at work. So that
me too.
Yeah,
It's very common.
Something's going on with my microphone, guys. I really don't understand what's going on. Everything looks to be working on my end.
Check your StreamYard setting, maybe.
Yeah, I just did. All right. While you guys are talking, I'll see if I can fix this.
Okay. Let's scroll down this article a little bit.
Okay.
And if you could.
There we go.
I mean, the cleavage, nothing above the knee, like that's pretty obvious. High heels, like who wants to wear high heels if they have an option not to?
Let's go back to the cleavage. Did you already cover that with the cleavage?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But go ahead. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, so on this, so I'll read this and then you can elaborate on it. So it says no cleavage, whether it's a modest knee-length dress. And by the way, the article on your screen is one Devin wrote on the How to Relationship website, A Red Pill Woman's Guide to the Workplace.
Howtorelationship.net.
Howtorelationship.net. Thank you. Ooh, HDR. No cleavage, whether it's a modest knee-length dress for a client meeting or an everyday blouse, no V-necks, no button-downs, or any other types of shirts that reveal anything lower than a normal necklace line. I'm there to work, not flash the goods. Why is that important?
It's important for 2 reasons. One, it shows that you're not advertising that your sexuality. And 2, it also helps you look more professional and be taken more seriously in the workplace. So if you're not out here, showing the puppies, your people are going to focus on what you're saying and not what there's distracting.
Yeah.
No, but now some women are going to say, well, why is it my responsibility that men have to keep their eyes on their eyes above my neck and not below? It's your responsibility to be a professional in a professional workplace. So basically what it comes down to is you can't fight biology with political correctness.
Yes. Oh my.
Correct.
So what's going to happen is, and the same thing goes with the no skirts above the knee. I used to like to wear, if you wear leggings, some people say leggings aren't okay for the workplace. They're very common, and especially like if you get fleece lined ones because you live in a cold environment. You need to make sure that you're wearing a top that comes down to your mid thigh or that covers your butt. And so that's really the only case where wearing like athletic leggings or any type of tight pants is okay. Even if you're wearing tight jeans, you should be wearing something that covers your rear end.
Yep. Wearing leggings, that's literally just spray painting your bottom parts. You can see your ass crack, you can see the camel toe. And again, a lot of women do this on purpose. Like, let's make no mistake about it. There are women out here who dress this way to get that kind of reaction. If you're a woman out here who's doing this, then this is absolutely not the podcast for you. But if you are in a relationship and you want to show your man that you respect him, don't dress for your man and not for work.
Right. Most jobs, won't require you to dress provocatively. If it does, you might want to consider another place of work. And I mean, other than like Hooters and a strip club, there's really most places it's, even restaurants where you work, it's black tops, black pants, things like that. And so on the same metric, it's not wearing high heels or really heels over 1 inch, which is more like a 1 inch by meaning like a boot heel or something like that. That's more of a block type heel. We're not talking about wearing stilettos to work. If you are, run it by your man. Like, here's the thing. And this is how I came up with this list was when I got ready for work, I would stop by Donovan's office, be like, is this okay? How do I look?
That's right.
How do I look? Not for the feedback of, oh, you look so pretty. It was like, okay, do I pass?
Yes.
Do I pass your requirements? Is this okay? Am I missing something that I haven't learned yet? And with that attitude, it was like, okay, nothing's wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. Change your bottoms, change your top, whatever. And you get the message pretty quickly. And it shows that you respect not only his opinion about how you look, but are you dressed appropriately in his eyes? And really, when you're in a relationship, it's what the other person thinks that truly matters. If you guys, want to keep being together. So yeah, obviously no woman would really choose to wear high heels to work anyway. I can't imagine.
Yeah, exactly. But see, women who choose to wear high heels to work are doing that for a reason. Women, and this is so funny. It's so funny. Women gladly wear high heels to work. They gladly wear high heels to work. But then when your man says, wear high heels for me, now it's a problem. Women value their jobs and their careers more than they value their relationships. And this is, and we're actually starting to see this. The next one, Dev, on your list says no eyeliner, no lipstick. It says basic makeup is all you need in an office environment. There's no need to look like you were going out on a date to enter data or answer phones or program PHP. I have no idea what that is. Whatever it is you do, even if you are in a super professional expected environment, eyeliner and lipstick is not necessary for success. You're going to get a lot of pushback from that.
Why? I mean, honestly, eyeliner basically, because eyeliner is more for night wear. Like you use that to make your eyes pop, like in a darker setting, or and it goes to show that you're trying to draw attention to you.
You took the words right out of my mouth. When you're wearing eyeliner, you're trying to draw attention.
And the same goes with lipstick.
There you go.
I've never really put on lipstick unless I was about to. If anytime I put on lipstick, it was to make Donovan happy, or for photos, or for something like that. Like at work, I only need like my chapstick, a basic clear or light pink lip gloss, which might not even be okay. I mean, I'm talking about not even putting lipstick in your purse when you go to work.
There you go.
Don't take these things with you, because your manager's going to think that you're going to put it on when you get there, like a parent does when there's a kid in high school. You're not allowed to wear makeup. Oh, okay, I'll show you. So it's really important that you not only kind of follow these guidelines, but you prove it along the way too, because anyone can change when they get to work, or keep a spare pair of heels in their trunk, or things like that. So, most of the time, some EOS lip balm or whatever in your pocket is all you need. Some mascara, eyeshadow, but basic foundation, you're on your way. Like I said, you are not going to lose your job or lose out on a raise because you are not made up like you're dolling up for the club.
There you go.
And if anything, that extra distraction, most male bosses will look at that and be like, yeah, I can't really take her that seriously. Like she doesn't, she's not treating this like an office, she's treating this like it's a meat market. So
there it is. And I love what you said when you said you cannot fight biology with political correctness.
it's true.
It doesn't matter how politically correct you want to be. Men are going to look at you. Listen, man, a funny thing happens when you advertise. You start to get customers. That's what this is advertising. So, Lily, you just said in the chat, women do not wear makeup for themselves. What are your thoughts on Devon's makeup policy in the workplace?
Completely. Well, it's honoring your relationship and your man. Like, as we know, eyeliner and lipstick especially, they're actually cues. They are cues that your eyes are wider, your lips is redder. It's usually a mating cue. Around, so actually putting those things on is not appropriate when you're in a relationship. But I think that the main message that Devon has got across here a few times has been that all of this is fine. Like, you could go to work like this, but a lot of women, they're going to work like this, but they're not making the effort when they're with their guy.
Right.
That's the thing. Is they're not the aim of the game for any women. There are women in the chat here. The aim of the game is for you to look like this and be your best for him. Work is the second thing. It's not the first thing on the list. Otherwise, you're going to lose, especially if you're with a high value guy. Or you're in a relationship like Donovan and Devon are, or that I am, or any woman that's with someone who is high value. He is not going to tolerate you going to work looking better than when he's with you. He will just leave you. So Devon, I think it's brilliant what you've said with, it's all fine and good, wear a bit of makeup to work, but actually you need to make sure that you're bringing that effort home as well to keep your relationship healthy and strong. I love that.
Yes, for sure. The next thing on my list, and actually I left something out that I should have included.
Okay, what was that?
If you're in a relationship, even if you're married or not, and you're in the workplace, wear a wedding ring, wear his name around your neck, wear something that demonstrates clearly to other people that you are taken.
There you go.
It will kind of nip a lot of unnecessary conversations in the butt when people are like, either guys are trying to flirt with you or stay late in a meeting with you or try to figure out your status one way or the other. Visually, those cues are there to say, okay, don't bother, she's taken. So one of the things that I put on the list was to put your hair up.
Yes, put your hair. Let me read this quickly. It says, if your hair is long, twist it into a bun or wear it in a ponytail. Nothing says putting in hard work when your hair is out of your face and you've got business on the brain. Curling your hair before work or looking relaxed, sexy sends the wrong signals. There is nothing more unattractive on a woman than a bun. It is dude, like, I don't think I've ever seen, like, every once in a while Devon will put her hair like in a bottom bun when we go bowling, which is not too bad. But yes, nothing is more unattractive when you go to work, look like a librarian.
You know why I do that, babe?
Why?
Because if I just got out of the shower, my hair is still wet and it still smells good, so that by the time we're home from bowling, I can take it out of the bun and it still smells freshly shampooed.
I love it.
It's really good.
Very nice.
So I'm saving that for you, babe.
I apologize for the microphone issues, guys. We'll just have to make do. I'm loud enough for you guys to hear me at least a little bit.
Yeah. Put your hair, pretend like you work with a bunch of children. And if your hair is down, they're going to grab it. Like everyone knows, like, you don't wear your hair down around infants because all they want to do is grab it and it's terrible. So let's just pretend like you work with a bunch of infants, put your hair up, get it out of the way. It could still look nice. But it really shows that, hey, I'm here to work.
There it is.
And so the next topic.
Yes, no lunches or traveling with men.
Mm-hmm.
Read this. I want you to read. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and read that.
All right. I have turned down lunches with my own manager because he is male. I do not leave the office with a man. I do not go out to eat with men other than my own. If there is a work event, I do not attend if he is not with me. Anything that needs to be spoken about can be done in the office or via email. Team building is for single people. I don't care if other women are in attendance. I declined the invitation. If we go
Yeah.
off site and a male is coming along, I take my own car. This cannot be stressed enough. Do not put yourself in a situation to be alone with or at the mercy of a man that is not your own.
Ooh, wow.
A lot of people will push back on that. Oh my God, that must be a toxic work environment if you can't be alone with a man that's not your husband or your boyfriend or whatever.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit, because I choose that because I respect my man, not because I'm afraid of anyone I work with.
Right.
And there's a big difference there. Now, my manager tried to get me to go out to lunch with him once a month, as a manager's lunch, just me and him off site. I said, I'm not comfortable with that.
Right.
He said, is it something about me? And I said, no, it's just, I don't think it's necessary. We can have lunch in the cafeteria of the office or whatever here on site, or we can just meet. A place, meet me in a place where there are cameras, everyone's accountable for where they are, what they're doing. And it's not that I was worried about being alone with him. I was more worried about the signals it would send to my significant other that, hey, I'm taking time out of my day to leave the workplace with another man and sit down and break bread with him.
Yep.
And by the way, you're not invited. So
Right.
So this is like the company culture can be so toxic.
They always looked at you funny when you brought me to company functions.
And I didn't realize that I was the only one bringing their significant other to the company functions. Like they were like,
blew me away. It's almost like the work environment is designed. It's almost like the work environment is specifically designed to drive a wedge between you and your significant other.
Yes,
it's unbelievable.
They want you to prioritize your relationship with the company over your relationship with your family. And while meanwhile the whole time they're saying, family comes first, and it's like, hey, if family came first, I would be allowed to invite my significant other to these team building events where they're serving alcohol and all of this other stuff is going on, and there's music and people are dancing. And it's like, yeah, I can't do my job any better than I can, with or without this team building crap. And it even went so far as to, like, they were like, hey, we're taking this picture of everybody in the department for social media. They're like, come on. And I'm just like, I'm not here to take pictures. And by setting that tone, they basically left me out of all of their events that they planned out after work, outside of work, that type of thing, which was fine by me. They knew I wasn't showing up anyway, unless I brought him. They don't know him, so he wasn't invited. So, hey, it was a win-win for me because, if anything, I did receive a promotion after that. And, and it told the higher ups that, hey, she's here to work. And, while it might not help your social life at work, your social life at work, it doesn't matter. They're not really your friends. They don't really care about you. The day that you walk out the door, they walk out the door. That's the last time you're going to speak to these people. Let's be honest here. And especially if you're not on social media, which you shouldn't be, you really have no contact with these people. You don't know anything about them, and other than what you're forward facing in the office. So, it's not going to hurt your work. It will help your relationship. And I think that it's really, really, really important to understand that. Like, don't put yourself in situations where your man think that you could cheat. And I think that's the point more than anything.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's such an important message, what you brought up there about these people are not your friends. They're not your friends. They're colleagues. Mm-mm. They're a separate category. They're friendly acquaintances, which is not a friend. So why would you want to go and hang out with people that aren't your friends or your boyfriend? You're just not going to want to. But I love this. I love this article. Is there any more of that article, or am I moving on to
let's see. Before we move on to your questions, you just covered your coworkers are not your friends,
no
work husbands.
I realize that was on the
that's interesting. Is my microphone working now, guys? It looks like it is.
Better. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's incredible. Okay. So let me read this paragraph quickly. And I know you just covered it. It says, no work husbands, no having lunch with a male coworker or taking walks together. This isn't a buddy system. It's a profession. Put you and yours first and foremost. Take your time opening up to women at work as well. Trust me on this. Avoid discussing your personal life with anyone other than upper management if necessary. take your time opening up to women as well. Trust me on this. Why did you put that in there? Because I would not have thought about that.
These are the people who are going to shame you. These are the people who are going to say, oh, how come you don't wear dresses to work? They want you to be like them and pull you into their frame or whatever.
So in other words, so when you tell her, so why don't you wear dresses to work? Because I have respect for my man. Then she starts telling other people her man doesn't let her do blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've unfortunately had to learn that one the hard way. Is if you say, okay, how come you don't want to come with this? Well, I don't really do work functions, on my own time without my man there. Oh, why? Is he controlling and blah, blah. Next thing you know, you got people talking about you behind your back about things they know nothing about.
There you go.
And, it's kind of like, Fight Club or the Red Pill Club, you don't talk about it. So if you just say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy, or I have things to do, I have plans. Oh, I can't make it. Eventually they'll get the hint that you're not just, you're just not interested in going. Why is none of their business?
There you go. So Tallulah, you've never heard of a work husband, have you?
Never heard of a work husband.
Okay, explain what a work husband is, Devin.
Okay, work husbands. Often male and female coworkers will kind of bond together over not only the work that they do, but the conversations that they have while they're at work. And next thing you know, they're sitting down, they're having lunch together every day. Oh, I've got to run out and do this at lunchtime. Oh, I'll come with you. Next thing you know, they're leaving the office together. Now they're going out to lunch. And then next thing you know, oh, well, so-and-so, he's my friend now. And if he's your friend now all of a sudden it's starting to intrude into your personal life.
And every time there's a work event or you have to partner up with someone, everyone assumes that John and Sally are going to pair up because they're work husband and wife. But then when John and Sally bring their husband and wife to work, everyone stays mum on the situation. Nobody tells John's wife that Sally is John's work wife. Nobody's telling Sally's husband that John is Sally's work husband. It's really, really weird how it's almost like an unspoken code of silence when it comes to work husbands and work wives. Dude, it's insane. This is why relationships are in the shit, man. It's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I try to develop like work friends, because you're going to be around these people for 40 hours a week. You're going to get to know each other. But I tried to, if anything, develop relationships with women of the same sex that were a generation apart from me, either way older or way younger, so that I was in a place in life where they couldn't judge because they've never been there, or they've been there and they know better. So, for me, it was, it wasn't so much as, working with men as it was trying to decide what kind of women I wanted to, end up pairing up with in these work functions and things like that. So, that's my advice, really. If you want to avoid judgment, befriend people who are 10 years younger than you or 10 years older.
I like that. That's very good. I'm going to read these super chats here quickly. Okay. Then I will, I'll read the last paragraph, and then Tallulah, you can ask the next questions here. Dre the Dream with the $5 super chat. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you very much for the support. Damian Orozco with the $2 super chat says female accountability in the workplace 101. Thank you very, very much for that. Michael Ayampo, Ayamoba with the 0.79 British pound super chat. Appreciate the support there. Dr. Thunder with the $2 super chat says this is solid gold, great topic and advice. Michael Ayomba, another 1.79 British pound, says Big Don, love from the UK. Keep leading from the front, G. Appreciate that very much. So the last paragraph on this article, and then Tallulah's got a few more questions that she's going to ask to Dev. It says, what you think is harmless is a signal to men. Tallulah, you touched on this about the eyes and the lips being a mating strategy. So the paragraph says, if you want to be feminine at home. You don't have to be masculine, not at all. You can be kind, intelligent, generous, and a good leader without putting your physical assets on display. You will often find yourself more respected and more easily promoted because you don't participate or put yourself in situations conducive to nonsense. This is interesting. You guys all know Devin's got a rockin' body. She's got the flat stomach, the hourglass figure. she's got bigger tits now than she did when she worked, but she's got a nice shapely ass. These things can be difficult to hide. These things are not hard to hide. A lot of women say, well, I've got a big ass and big tits. How can I hide them? They're wearing skin tight clothes. Devin is the quintessential example. She's got all of those assets, but managed to keep them out of view at work. So it can be done if you want it to be done. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it can be done. And I'm going to give women another little tip. Don't send emojis to men who are your significant others.
Love it.
It sends signals that are left to interpretation. And, most times guys are looking for a way to,
there you go.
Chance,
There you go.
This is nothing against men, but that smiley face, that winky face, that laughing emoji.
That has an effect on men.
It has effect on both sexes, to be honest. So if people are communicating with you, especially if you work with younger people, everyone uses emojis. But if you reply, you never use the emojis, you just say what you mean. It could go a long way, and it's a good habit to develop, especially even if you're texting someone who isn't your significant other. Don't leave things up to interpretation. Say what you mean. And that's really important. Because
what men will do with emojis is they will attempt to escalate. So first it's a smiley face, then it turns into a winky face, right? There's a big difference between a smiley face and a winky face. And if your significant other looks at your messages at work and he sees you two sending smiley faces and winky face emojis, this is so funny. Women are always like, I don't know why Chris has a problem with Kevin at work. Well, could it be because you're always talking about Kevin, number one? Number two, he saw your messages and sees all of these emojis between you. Number three, you and Kevin are supposed to be partners at the weekend work getaway, the team building. Women act like they don't know why their husbands are not okay with their activities at work, but they know.
And this is something that women think is harmless. It's normal, right?
Yep.
Everybody does it. Now, another pro tip, if you do use like a Discord or a Slack or an ICQ or AOL or whatever.
Whoa, ICQ. Goddamn, what is this, 1998?
Dating myself.
Jesus
here.
Christ, ICQ.
But, work messaging system, do not put that work messaging system on your phone.
Ooh,
very important. Also, people who you work with should not have your cell phone number.
That's right.
Only the management should have your cell phone number. So here's the deal. If it's not an emergency, they shouldn't be able to get in touch with you unless you're at work or you're working from home with your laptop open or computer open, checking your email.
There you go.
Or you have the messaging service open. It's got to be a computer based, not smartphone based.
Because smartphone based on its face looks like you're texting somebody else, and that's really what it is.
And your phone's going bloop, 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 bloop,
yeah,
which is going to your man's like, what the hell?
What the hell? Oh, it's just Kevin from work. He's not going to be all right with that if Kevin has a direct link to your smartphone.
No, if Kevin needs something, Kevin needs to talk to James, the manager,
yes,
who then reaches out to you
via email.
If it's important enough when you're not at work to find out that information and relay it back to them. So you need to create a hierarchy in how people can reach you as well. You don't want people getting the wrong message because, oh, so-and-so has their cell phone number. You're all of a sudden you end up in a group chat. Everybody's got your phone number.
Oh boy.
You don't know how. People are sending you messages or smiley faces, winky face. Your husband is like, what in the hell is going on here?
Yep.
And next thing you know, you're in a messy situation. You might not be doing anything out of whack, but the fact that he is on high alert means you're doing something wrong. So then you need to start problem solving. How can I eliminate these problems?
And here's another thing. Everything that you've said is 100% correct. Most women indirectly put themselves in these situations, right? So they'll be on Slack, right? Texting back and forth. Now you can go private messages, right? Then you're in that group. Chat. Your husband or boyfriend's like, who is that? Oh, that's just Chris from work.
It's just work.
And you're like, you have his phone number. Well, I didn't give him my phone number. Well, how did he get your phone number? Well, we were in a group chat and he got it and blah, 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 blah. Women know. And sometimes women will say, hey, look, so it doesn't look like I'm trying to hit on Chris, put me in the group chat, and then that'll give him, because remember, women are not aggressive. They're passive. They're not the aggressors in relationships. Women send choosing signals at work all the time. Put me in a group chat is one of the many ways they send choosing signals, along with the private messaging.
Now, a lot of companies will use HR type software to manage employees' information, so that you can kind of look up anyone in the company and find their cell phone number. If you express to management that you don't want this information available or available to senior roles and above, they can go ahead and create that setting so that your information isn't available to some guy who saw you in the lunchroom and wants to find out like what you're up to.
There you go.
It's very important to protect yourself and create these layers of boundaries. And whether people think it's normal, it's not, it's socially acceptable. It doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is what your man thinks. And if you aren't willing to prioritize that, then you're not ready for a relationship.
There you go. Very well said.
Absolutely, guys. And I also think that a lot of people that meet at work or start relationships at work, friendships or romantic relationships, affairs, it's an illusion. It's not real. You could work with those people, that particular person for like, I don't know, 3-4 years or whatever, and you don't actually ever know them. And you're sort of saying they're your friend or they become your girlfriend or boyfriend,
exactly,
or whatever, and it's not real. You only know them in that office space. You haven't spent any time with them outside of there, at home, in daily life. And I hear that a lot, like this illusion that people, oh yeah, my friend at work. I'm like, you don't even know these people.
Yep. They don't even know these people, but a lot of people are trying to get to know. Mortal Shill in the chat says, or overly friendly people, quote, helping everyone with good reason. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've got a few more questions for you.
Let's do it.
For you both. So, thanks, Devon. We're getting some great insight from you. I love it. You've got to be writing this stuff more often. We love it. So,
yeah, I've got a list of articles to start working on myself.
Yes, you do.
Great. What do you think is the biggest problem in the workspace as far as male/female relations are concerned?
Wait, what was her question?
What do you think is the biggest problem in the workplace as far as male/female relations are concerned?
Wow. All right, go ahead.
My biggest problem is a lot of times, company culture, I think, is one of the biggest problems. What they think is healthy is not healthy. I used to be in a company where, we'd have these monthly meetings, right? And they would start out the meetings by asking people personal questions and going around the room. Oh my God,
yes.
And saying, tell us about your brothers and sisters. How old are they? Where do they live? Blah, blah, blah. Like, no one needs to know my personal information in a work setting. And it's like what they think is helping people get to know one another is really intrusive.
Yes.
And it's very dangerous too, because I don't know the backgrounds of the other 15 people sitting in this room. I don't know if they had restraining orders for stalking people or whatever, And it's like, if you lie and you get caught in a lie, then you're untrustworthy. And, if you say I'm not comfortable with sharing that, which I've had to do on several occasions, you look like a pariah. Like, why not? What's wrong with her? I don't know. Was she hiding? So I think the oversharing in the workplace is probably one of the biggest issues, and it starts a lot of these inappropriate relationships because all of a sudden, we have this in common. What else do we have in common?
There you go.
Let's go deeper. How about no? Do you need that plugin updated? Yes or no? Like bring it on back to work.
There because
you go. That's really like, okay, what did you need me to review? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. No. All right. That's good. All right. I'm good. All right. Thanks. You can be friendly and you can be nice, but you can easily change an oversharing situation into a work appropriate situation by just changing the topic. It's just as simple as that. And if people push you for personal information, they're the ones that are going to look bad.
My answer, the biggest problem, I guess I'll answer this question in two different ways. The biggest problem is actually women in the workplace. If it were up to me, I wouldn't mind women going to work, women working, but I think women and men need to work separate from one another, because just like Dev said, you can't fight biology with political correctness. When you and it's human nature to become attracted to people that you spend 8 hours a day with. Like, and it's almost like you're getting to know these people, especially if you work with someone for, umpteen years. But because there are women in the workplace, I think that the biggest problem in terms of the workplace is probably human resources, because human resources decide which work relationships get to carry on and which ones don't, because every workplace romance is simply a human resources report that never got filed because the guy was attractive. That's really what it comes down to. Guys get reported to human resources all the time if he asked Holly out to, out to dinner. But if the guy is a Kevin in sales type dude, or a Steve in accounting, as Rich Cooper likes to say, then human resources will turn a blind eye. Human resources know that there are work romances going on all the time. They don't just start from nothing. So to me, the biggest problem is human resources. Human resources is literally, I think human resources facilitate workplace romances. Not only that, it also makes men scared. They get to decide which relationships are successful and which ones don't.
And I've got something to say of my experience.
Okay.
The last company I worked for, a large IT company, did not have an HR department. However, half of the senior management staff was in relationships with people underneath them.
There you go.
So just by setting that example, it created a lot of like, oh, it's okay to just date whoever. So yeah, not good.
Yeah, wow, I'm learning so much, guys. It actually sounds like a lot like the corporate world is actually really dangerous, whether
Yes.
you're having a relationship with someone there or not.
Yes.
People know so much, and the oversharing thing, I think that's such an important point.
Yeah, I'd never even thought about that until Dev said something about it.
Yeah, it's funny because the younger generation will share things about their sexuality, their pronouns, things that are extremely personal.
Oh my God, yes.
They'll lead with that. And so the older people are like, they'll be like, yeah, I don't want to tell you anything about myself. Like, what are you talking about? So there is a big generation gap that I see between the young people and the older people. The young people learn the hard way, just like we all did. So, it's one of those things where when you start out on a foot that separates you from other people, you're always going to be a little bit separated from other people.
That's right.
You can't really be separated from other people if they don't know.
Okay.
So you got to be a chameleon when it comes to having a successful relationship in the workplace. You've got to fit in on the surface level. Everything's cool. You do what you're required to do. But anything above and beyond that, you have personal boundaries that you just don't cross, and people learn them, and they eventually, they
leave you alone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Or so if they invite you to something, they invite your significant other with you. Hey,
yes.
So and so want to come to blah blah blah. Why, yes, sure, we'll come to sushi for your dinner. Yeah, no problem.
Hell yeah, free food. Yeah, if you're paying, I'm playing.
Oh, I love it. So, why does the workplace threaten relationships?
Woo. You can answer that one first. Why does the workplace threaten relationships?
Workplace threatens relationships because people need to work harder if they're single. If they don't have a double income, if they don't have someone else to rely on, people will put in longer hours, work harder for maybe an extra 15 cents an hour, things like that, suddenly their priorities shift. Now, these companies will say family comes first, but that's always got these contingencies to it. Like, family comes first unless your kid is sick 2 days in a row. Family comes first unless your significant other doesn't want you to go to functions without him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that's when the judging comes in. So I think that companies want you to put the company first.
Mm-hmm.
They always want you to prioritize work over everything else. And if they're doing that, they're winning in your life. And you are making them richer. You are buying them vacation homes, and you are doing everything to help their bottom line, while meanwhile scraping by on yours. So honestly, that's my opinion. Companies want you to put the company first because it keeps you in a situation where if you're not prioritizing your marriage, your relationship, you are going to be more dependent upon the company in order to survive.
Yeah, I think the reason why the workplace threatens relationships is because it puts women in conflict. And I'll use a football analogy. The Dallas Cowboys recently played the Eagles. The best player on either side of the football is a linebacker named Micah Parsons. Very, very good pass rusher. What the Eagles did is nobody blocked him. They ran plays away from him, and our quarterback would maybe sometimes feign a pass or a run. Micah Parsons was then in conflict, and that split second was all we need for our quarterback to throw it over the top. What workplaces do with women is it constantly puts them in conflict. If I don't do this, this is going to be frowned upon. If I don't come to this company function, I'm not going to get that promotion. If I don't go to team lunches, team building activities, then it could cost me a promotion. The reason why workplaces threaten relationships is just like what you said. It literally makes women choose between their home life and their work life, and they can't pick their home life because their work life it funds their home life. And so it puts women in these impossible conflicts. Now, some of these conflicts women like to have. Some women just don't respect their husbands or boyfriends, and they're looking for a come up, and that's just the reason why they use work.
Yeah, they're like, if I'm successful at work, I can afford to leave him.
There you go. And that's an even bigger motivating factor. So not only is she motivated financially to prioritize work, she's also sometimes motivated personally. That's why workplaces really threaten relationships.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. It's a bad place. It's just a bad place. Get out of the corporate world, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and like someone said in the chat, the best ideal situation is to work for your husband.
That's it.
And I'm actually going to write an article. I have this in the queue as well about the best types of best lines of study or careers for women who want to end up working for their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's going to be dependent upon the type of, career that your husband does. However, there are some universal things that can benefit every business. And I'm talking about, things like marketing and programming, like I do for Donovan. There are also things like being a CPA, being really good with the books. Every business needs that. So, if you can acquire a skill that can also help you, hang a shingle, God forbid your significant other, kicks the bucket.
Right.
But in the meantime, you guys are working together. Some of the best relationships that I've experienced in my life, the longest relationships that I've had in my family, the wife works for the husband.
There you go.
Part of the business. They're in it together. And there is no dividing line between his time, her time, work time, my time. They're doing it all together. And I think it also helps bond a couple when they're, both working towards the same goal.
And I think there's a big difference between you working together and working at the same place.
Oh yeah.
So understand this, ladies. What we're not saying it's, men and women who work at the same company for the same company. Those are the best relationships. That's a negative. That can cause all kinds of problems. And oftentimes it can even get competitive. No, we mean working for your man. So just like Dev said, if your man is a lawyer, go to school and get your paralegal degree, get your associate's degree. If your man is a doctor, maybe become a nurse's aide or some sort of assistant at the hospital, maybe even a secretary. Guys, there's a reason why the CEO is always fucking the secretary, because that's probably the closest thing to a healthy relationship that either one of them has. He is the superior, she is the subordinate. He tells her what to do, she does it. He wants coffee, she gives him coffee. This is why husband and wife wife run businesses, boyfriend and girlfriend run businesses, are successful because they are both working for the same goal. There is no competition. It's like, okay, I want you to be successful, so I'm going to do my best. She wants me to be successful, so she's going to do her best. It's literally the same thing. That's going to be a good article. Places, things of skills that you can acquire to work for your man. We are very, very fortunate because what you already were an expert in literally fits perfectly into what I do. So we got lucky there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with those responses, guys. So I've got my last question.
Okay.
And this one is for the women. So Deb, but Donovan, I want you to answer too.
Okay.
What can women do to avoid pitfalls at work in order to maintain her man's trust and the integrity of the relationship?
Ooh.
I think it really depends on the type of man that you're with.
Okay.
For a person like Donovan, you don't know what you don't ask. And you can't take for granted what you do know or what you don't know. So
because I will let you know.
It's saying, okay, I care about your opinion. What do you think? What do you think about this outfit? I was invited to this. Should I go? Should I accept? Let him know about the decisions that you have to make and let him be a part of making those decisions and defer to his authority. So yes, there are going to be pitfalls at work. You're not necessarily know what's going to, I don't want to say trigger, but what's going to set off your man and say, he's going to be like, whoa, that's not okay. Some guys won't speak up. They'll just let you do what you think is
because
fine.
They're afraid of the woman,
or not afraid. They're just going to think like, oh, she doesn't really care what I think. That's her priority. I'm out. So it will eventually wear down on him to the point where he's just not going to pick a fight with you. He's just going to leave. So yeah. So a lot of times if you're open and saying, okay, hey, my work has this function. I was invited. I would like to bring you. Should I go? Do you want to go? What are our options here? And talk about it. Over communicate these types of things.
Yes.
Say, hey, I have to look a little bit nicer today. We have important clients coming in. How do I look? I know this is, a little bit more dressed up than I usually get, but what do you think?
Very good.
Okay. And just run it by until you establish what works for you both. What works for Donovan and I might be a little extreme for some people, but
but it works
by keeping in mind, is this okay with him? Am I sending the right signals to the people that I'm working with? How would he feel if he read this email? Context or no context?
There you
go. Or
go.
saw these text messages, context or no context. Make sure that you are behaving in a way that tells him that he is important to you and what he thinks matters. And I think that's a good way to avoid a lot of pitfalls.
I think I couldn't agree more with Dev. I'll refer back to her article. And I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but I'll refer back to the article. What can women do to avoid pitfalls at work in order to maintain her man's trust and the integrity of the relationship? Yeah. Not showering before work. This doesn't mean, and again, we'll go over this again, ladies. This doesn't mean we want you to be grimy and nasty. No, shower after work. You shower after work, you go to bed, you get up, and now you go to work. You're not stinky when you come from home. If you are, there's a problem. Number 2, no cleavage. Ladies, cleavage. The reason why women show cleavage is to get male attention. If you are showing cleavage at work, you are trying to get male attention. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Nothing above the knee. Same thing. No high heels. Same thing. No eyeliner or lipstick. I like what Tallulah said about those being sort of mating calls. And we see girls looking like whores at work, man. They look like they're going to the club. It's unbelievable.
It's one extreme to the other. Either they're wearing like pink sweatpants, with a logo on their butt, and they look like crap, or they're extra.
Yep. Put your hair up. Again, this doesn't mean we want you to look like, a bum. Look respectable, but you need to signal to people, I'm not here to get attention. I'm here to work. And last but certainly not least, do not do lunches with men. Don't travel with men. Dude, oh my God. Dude, there are so many women who fuck their bosses or their coworkers on work-related trips. This is why I tell people, this is why I tell my guys, do not commit to a woman who travels for work. I don't care. She's not going to quit her job. She's not going to quit her job for you, and don't expect her to. If she travels for work, this drastically increases the likelihood of her being sexually unfaithful. Also, realizing that your coworkers are not your friends, and last but certainly not least, what you think is harmless is a signal to men. We know how things are. We know how things are, and when you're working in an office, the only high value guy there is the boss, right? And so if the high value guy there is just the boss, that means your other coworkers are in that bottom 80 to 90%. You send him that one emoji. That's probably the only emoji that he will ever receive from a woman that entire week. Of course, he's going to take that as a choosing signal. Oh, you know what? I think she likes me. Well, why do you think she does? She said, I don't know why. I just think she does.
She's
no, it's
trying
because
to appeal to my emotions.
There you go, man. There you go. Exactly.
Because it's an emotional expression.
There it is. There it is. That's why you don't send emojis, because you're not trying to be emotional with your coworkers.
Mortal Shill said that he doesn't have time to be telling a woman what to wear. I think it's important.
Hang on a second. Where does it say that?
It gets tiring telling women what to do.
No
stuff to do.
Hey, well, listen. I understand, but Mortal Shill, what you need to understand is that if you don't take the lead, then she is going to lead you to the end of the relationship. Look, this is the thing. Good relationships come at a cost, guys. If you want to be, it costs to be the boss. You can't just sit back on your throne and be the boss. No, when a king is the king of his castle, he's got to worry about the peasants, the serfs, the security detail off in another country. They're coming back. We've got a food shortage in sector. Like, there's no such thing as a passive leader. You have to be. A lot of guys say, well, I want a woman who's feminine and submissive and asks my permission. Then they actually get such a woman, and she's asking them permission. God, what does she ask me all the time? That's the kind of woman you want. If you want a woman that is going to respect you and your relationship, then this is what's necessary. And if you don't have time for that, that's not a bad thing. It just might mean that you're not ready for that kind of relationship at this point, and that's okay. But if you are ready for a relationship, you can't then say, I don't have time to be telling a woman what she can or can't wear, because I'm gonna tell you what, if you don't have the time, then she'll make that time for someone else.
I also have something to say about this.
Go ahead.
We're talking about establishing a baseline of what is acceptable or what is not acceptable in this relationship. If he has to continually remind me that what I'm wearing isn't okay, I'm not putting in the effort, I'm not paying attention, or I don't care.
Right.
And that sends a clear enough signal to him that says, hey, maybe I'm mentally checking out here.
There you go. There you go.
This isn't like every day. If I'm not sure about something, I'll ask, I've never worn this to work before. Or this is a new outfit. What do you think? I'm asking for his feedback because I care. I care about how he feels and what he thinks. And if you don't want a woman who cares about how you feel and what you think, then you probably don't want that. And why want a relationship? Why even bother?
I agree. I agree 1,000%. Pardon me. I think it's definitely. Pardon me. I think it is definitely worth noting that if you find yourself, just like Dev said, if you find yourself having to be reminded, maybe you don't care as much as you thought you did. On the flip side, if you're having to remind your woman, hey, like that's the third time this week I've had to stop you. Now you might start, now in your mind, you're like, okay, this is the third time I've stopped her. We've had these discussions before, but she still continues to do this. The odds are pretty good that there's someone at work of the opposite sex that she is trying to get the attention of, at which point you might need to check out yourself because again, you should only, honestly, once is a coincidence, twice is, if you have to remind your woman one time, if you have to have that, women aren't perfect. They are going to mess up. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll change. If she does it a second time, that could just be out of habit. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right, I'll give you a pass. If she does it for a third time in a very close proximity of time, you have a problem on your hands. What she is doing is she's giving you lip service, telling you one thing and doing another. Now, a lot of guys might think, well, she could leave the house in one thing and then just change into the other. At which point that's not a relationship. Right. That's a relationship that's doomed to fail. Guys, we're not going to catch
in when she gets to work with a picture, you know that she's not pulling a fast one on.
There you go.
So
there you go.
there are extremes, yes, But I mean, you know, when you've seen as much as Donovan has, you don't take anything for granted.
No.
So it's either you can establish your expectations and your boundaries and what you want and what you expect, or you can get burned and then establish those boundaries and then try to enforce it.
Yeah.
But a woman needs leadership. She's not going to know, hey, that outfit, that's not work appropriate.
Right.
Even though everyone else at work dresses like that, you're my woman. You are not sending those signals out unless you're with me.
And we also...
and if she likes you, she'll respect you. She'll thank you for that. It'll actually help her in her work life as well, because she won't be dealing with this extra stuff at work.
Right.
And her management will be taking her more seriously.
Not only that, when you dress provocatively at work, you're getting all of the male attention, which is great. But you want to know what that does to the women? That turns the women against you.
Yes.
Dude, women hate the office slut. They hate the office hoe, man. And yeah, and they like hanging out with her because she gets attention from guys. But ladies, like, nobody likes the office slut. Nobody likes the girl. Nobody likes the woman who clearly looks better than anyone there, who dresses in such a way that advertises that she is for sale. Nobody likes that. I forgot what I was going to say, but I guess I'll just I'll talk about it another time. This was a fantastic. What are your closing thoughts on this?
I've said all I need to say. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and to have a wonderful weekend. Yes.
Tallulah, final thoughts on this discussion.
I have learned so much. I absolutely love it, and I loved being here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting. Yes, like we said, Tallulah is the new host of the #HowTo Relationship podcast. It always goes so much smoother when we're on with her.
Yeah,
it's the craziest thing.
Better.
It's much, much better. The next time we'll actually be in Studio C. I didn't have time to set up Studio C, but we'll be in Studio C for the next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.